Hello, dreamers. Welcome to another episode of The Practical Dreamer. And today we're going to talk about how to prime your day for productivity. And we're going to dive straight in. So, one of the first things I do when I think about priming my day for productivity is how do you own your day? How do you own the morning, to own your midday, to own your evening? And honestly, it's a really simple question. And answer for me is reverse engineering that day. So when does that day actually start? And if you think about it, it actually starts the night before. And really, your day is an echo and a repercussion or a consequence of the last 72 hours. So there's numerous scientific research and studies behind that. Really, the main not only physiological but also psychological effects that we're having, the moods that we're coming in, and the energy levels that we're bringing to our day and our work and our lives and our relationships and our businesses is due largely in part to the last 72 hours. So let's talk about that. So one of the first things that I do when I want to own my day is I think about preparing food. Now, health is a cornerstone of my life, not and my wife's and my family's and a lot of my friends. And so when you think about this, preparing food the night before, especially like meal prep. So this is something my wife and I do, and this isn't something you have to do, but we do it for the entire week. So every Sunday, we do a 2 to 3 hour session, not including shopping. So go ahead and add another hour. And basically we spend 3 to 4 hours of every Sunday prepping all of our meals for the week. And so what this allows us to do is if I'm ready for first breakfast, because why only have one when you can have two, or lunch or dinner, or looking for a snack or something, there's always food ready. So at a moment's notice in between meetings or Zoom calls or recordings or writing sessions or out working on the ranch or, going for a meeting in San Antonio or Austin or something, you can just grab a meal on the go. You're ready to go. You're going to have your nutrients. You're going to be like jam packed. You're not going to be worried about like, oh, where can I find a place to get something healthy to eat, or even just find something to eat, on the go. And so just having prepared food really takes that burden and anxiety off and a little bit of that stress, because you're getting whatever you prepared for. It's something that hopefully you liked if you prepared it. If not, maybe you need to curate a little bit more extensive and do some more research about some different meal prep options and recipes online. Pinterest is always great. Google is your friend. And so, anyways, having prepared food is one of the main ways that I set myself up for productivity and success every single day, every single week, every single month. And that's been a staple in my life for a number of years. And really, there's the old adage of, abs are actually made in the kitchen. Health is actually made in the kitchen. Yes, it would be great if we could all go to the gym all the time and spend multiple hours working out and all this stuff. It's not for everyone, but something that everyone does is we all consume food, right? Nutrients, what are we putting in our bodies? And just thinking that, you know, garbage in, garbage out. So if you're consuming fast food, if you're consuming highly processed things, no wonder you feel under the weather. No wonder you don't have the energy to show up, and you need that caffeine, or you need that soda, or you need whatever to kind of stimulate you to get you through your day and to show up at a peak level. But really, when it comes down to is preparing your food is another way and a great tactic for setting yourself up for success. All right, so moving on. Same routine. So something I think about is having the same routine, not only in the mornings. So I have the same routine. I get up the same time every single day. The one exception is Saturday. I don't set an alarm, but still usually wake up within an hour or so of my normal 4:30 during the week. And so by staying consistent in the same routine the entire week, you're setting yourself up for consistency of results. And once you have consistency and you track that consistency over time, you can figure out what works best for you. For me, early mornings work well. And so I build a morning routine and specifically a night routine prior to that to set myself up for productivity in the day. And it's thinking about things like stacking good habits. So, if I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I turn off my alarm. Then right next to my alarm, which should be in a different room if it's your phone, especially, is having a glass of water right there, because we know from science and research that dehydration takes a huge toll on us overnight. So we wake up, we're already immediately dehydrated, especially if you have a fan on, your AC runs all night, or you live somewhere that it's hot. Then getting in some water and hydrating right away is going to sharpen that mental capacity that you have to show up immediately and just get your brain racked and rolling, your body primed and ready to own the day. And if you can get a little bit of like lemon and salt in there, that's even better, kind of those key nutrients that you're missing overnight. So thinking about stacking those kind of good habits that set you up for success during the day, and also mitigating the bad ones. So if your alarm clock is your phone, maybe it looks like something, if you know that you scroll Instagram, social media, whatever it may be in the morning, or you Google and watch news on your phone first thing in the morning. Well, if that's your habit, then let's try and mitigate or reduce that distance or add some more friction in between you and those apps. So if you go into your phone, you can go to your settings and you can go to app limits. You can even go to do not disturb and stuff and set specific apps to only be allowed during certain times of day. And so we do this by limiting ourselves in the morning, and also limiting ourselves and cutting ourselves off at night. So that way we have less screen time at night. And the last thing we're not doing at the end of the day, especially before we go to sleep, is scrolling social media. And, you know, lots of judgments and comparison, no matter even if you're using it for research or coming up with content. So thinking about stacking habits that are beneficial for us, as well as eliminating or adding more friction in between habits that aren't beneficial for us. So thinking about things like that, thinking about even small little ways of, while you brush your teeth, you're staring in the mirror, if you have a mirror, and you're thinking, you know, I feel healthy, I feel good, I'm like here to serve today, or just thinking little adages inside your head and little mantras that you can say while you're doing that, like, you know, I'm feeling really healthy, or like, I'm gonna, you know, crush that presentation today, and start going over those things in your head and be like, what are some challenges that are going to come up? And so you can stack these little habits that'll make a huge difference, not only in your day, but also over time. That aggregation of gain over time is exponential. So thinking about another habit or another tactic to own your day is laying out your clothes. So this may sound like very simplistic and easy, and it is, and it should be. And by doing this, you're reducing the amount of mental capacity and choice you have to make first thing in the morning, and you're eliminating that decision by making it the night before. And another good way about doing this with clothes is also, if you go to the gym or you go to things after work, or, you know, soccer practice or something, is going ahead and, you know, creating that gym bag, going ahead and adding those clothes in. You know, if working out is something that you really want to be doing and trying to get into, then figure out how to reduce or mitigate that friction in between you and your goals. And so laying out your clothes is a simple, easy way to do it. I do it in the bathroom that's next to our room. You can see through that door is where I lay my phone at night, which I use as my alarm. And the reason I put it in there is, A, it's not next to me at night. B, whenever it goes off, I immediately am forced to jump out of bed and go into another room, and that physical action and moving gets my body up and rolling. And then my clothes are right there, so that way I can immediately grab those, start putting those on. And then by that point, I'm already rolling. My water's right there, drinking some water. And while I'm doing that, then I'm going to do a couple air squats and just stacking those little habits, moving on. So let's think of some other like ways to prime your day for productivity. Something that is key for me is I use the same playlist every single time that I sit down for a writing session. It's the exact same playlist every time I sit down to write. And what this does is the consistency over time actually programs my mind and subconscious to be like, oh, it's time to write. Like, we're going to have to show up and start writing because that's what we've done every single time before this. So every time you do that, that consistency, that habit stacks up and it builds upon itself and just creates this productive workflow where you drop into flow quicker and you stay in there longer. And so you use this cue to activate the habit and the subconscious of, this is time to work. So whether that looks like, you know, you go to work and you have the same playlist that you listen to, or you go to the gym, you have the same playlist that you use. It's the same thing for your mornings, and using that throughout your day. And you can have different playlists for different capacities of your job, of your life, of things that you do. YouTube ambiance is really great and like tracking like that. So something else to think about is, and this is a really funny one, is just getting some freaking sleep. It's really amazing. The amount of people who are like, oh, I don't need 7, 8 hours, it's like, oh, well, that's interesting because, like I think scientifically it's somewhere around 5% of the population can actually get by on less than 7 hours of sleep and still show up to the same capacity as people who do get 7 to 8 hours, which is the scientifically proven and research backed amount of time that people need to rest and recuperate, not only mentally, but physically, and prime themselves to show up the next day at a full capacity. And so besides getting sleep, like actually, what does that time actually look like from the time you need to wake up in the morning or the time you want to wake up in the morning to show up and own the day, however you, and whatever that looks like for you? Well, what's 7 to 8 hours prior to that time? So let's take an easy example. 4 a.m. wake up time. You need to be asleep, not be going to sleep or headed to sleep. You need to be asleep by 8 o'clock. Okay, so if it takes you 30 minutes to fall asleep from the time you get into bed or start your nightly routines, which we'll talk about, then really you should be going to bed about 7:30 because it's going to take you 30 minutes to sleep and then you get your full 8 hours after that, right? So, but what if, it takes you an hour and a half to wind down? What if, your brain just starts firing at the end of the day, or you're super amped up, or you do a workout at the end of the day and, you're just feeling super vibrant? Then if that's the way that you enter into going into sleep, then obviously you're not going to fall into a deep REM sleep as well and quickly as someone who's trained themselves or set up a sleep routine. And so my sleep routine looks like about 7:30 every night, because I go to bed at 8:30 to get my 8 hours and sleep by 8:30. So 7:30 every night, I have an alarm that goes off. Boom, that alarm goes off. I know it's time to start winding down because it takes me about an hour to wind down and go through my sleep routine. Now, this looks different and can be different for everyone. I'm not saying an hour is the perfect time for you, but for me, it works, and it works currently. And I test and catalog that and track that. So I know over time, do I need more time? Do I need less time? And so through the sleep routine, it's like, all right, so no screens, and usually no screens about 2 hours before bed. Also limiting the amount of liquids you're intaking before bed, because so many people drink up to the point of going to sleep and they're like, well, I didn't sleep too well. And it's like, oh, did you get up and pee during the night? So, well, yeah, I mean, two, 3 times a night or something like that. And you're like, oh, well, I don't do that. Nope. I haven't gotten up to pee in the middle of the night quite a while. I mean, probably at least a month and a half. Is probably the last time I can think of that. And before that, like, nope. Because I know if I drink liquids about 2 hours before I'm going to sleep, so if I want to be asleep at 8, then at 6, I need to start limiting the amount of water I'm taking in. Then by doing that, I won't have to get up and pee at all, which means I'll sleep through the night more consistently. I'll have a deeper sleep. I'll hit more REM sleep. I'll get more recharged and refueled, ready to own my day the next day, instead of waking up a couple times to use the restroom when you could just drink a little bit less water and then pound some more in the morning. And so my last kind of final point is be consistent, because when you're consistent, you can track what works and what doesn't work for you. And I'm not saying you have to do this, for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, tracking, writing, journaling, all these things. Just be like, did this work? Did it not? Did making my meal make my day easier? Yes. Boom. All right. That's easier. Let's do that again and get those results. And you'll start accumulating these habits together, and you'll start figuring out what works and what doesn't work for you. And that's what we're all about on this podcast, is helping each other realize our dreams, so together we can make a better world. And I wish you all the best and hope this video helped. If you liked it, leave a comment, leave a like, and hope you all have the greatest day.